Hello again, so happy you could join us. We're reading from the Complete Jewish Bible, which is a translation of the Hebrew Bible. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4 through 9, Shema. Hear, Israel, Adonai our God, Adonai is one, and you are to love Adonai your God with all your heart, all your being, and all your resources. These words which I am ordering you today are to be on your heart, and you're to teach them carefully to your children. You're to talk about them when you sit at home, when you're traveling on the road, when you lie down, when you get up. Tie them on your hand as a sign. Put them at the front of a headband around your forehead, and write them on the door frames of your house and on your gates. Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 through 14. Our Father in heaven, may your name be kept holy. May your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us the food we need today. Forgive us what we have done wrong, as we too have forgiven those who have wronged us. And do not lead us into hard testing, but keep us safe from the evil one. For kingship, power, and glory are yours forever. We're on Genesis chapter 27. In the course of time, after Isaac had grown old and his eyes dim, so that he couldn't see, he called Esau, his older son, and said to him, "My son." And he answered him, "Here I am. Look, I am old now. I do not know when I will die. Therefore, please take your hunting gear, your quiver of arrows, and your bow. Go out into the country and get me some game. Make it tasty the way I like it, and bring it to me to eat. Then I will bless you as firstborn before I die." Rivkah was listening when Isaac spoke to his son. Esau saw his son Esau. So when Esau went out to the country to hunt for game and bring it back, she said to her son Jacob, "Listen, I heard your father telling Esau your brother, 'Bring me game and make it tasty so I can eat it. Then I will give you my blessing in the presence of Adonai before my death. Now pay attention to me, my son, and do what I tell you. Go to the flock and bring me back 2 choice kids. I will make it tasty for your father the way he likes it. And you will bring it to your father to eat, so that he will give his blessing to you before his death." Jacob answered Rivkah his mother, "Look, Esau is hairy, but I have smooth skin. Suppose my father touches me. He will know I am trying to trick him, and I'll bring a curse on myself, not a blessing." But his mother said, "Let your curse be on me. Just listen to me and go get me the kids." So he went, got them, and brought them to his mother, and his mother prepared them in a tasty way his father loved. Next, Rivkah took Esau, her older son's best clothes, which she had with her in the house, and put them on Jacob, her younger son. And she put the skins of the goats on his hands and on the smooth parts of his neck. Then she gave the tasty food and the bread she had prepared to her son Jacob. He went to his father and said, "My father." He replied, "Here I am." "Who are you, my son?" Jacob said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I've done what you've asked me to do. Get up now, sit down, eat the game, and then give me your blessing." Isaac said to his son, "How did you find it so quickly, my son?" He answered, "Adonai your God made it happen that way." Isaac said to Jacob, "Come here, close to me, so I can touch you, my son, and know whether you are in fact my son Esau or not." Jacob approached Isaac, his father, who touched him and said, "The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are Esau's hands." However, he didn't detect him because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands, so he gave him his blessing. He asked, "Are you really my son Esau?" And he replied, "I am." He said, "Bring it here to me, and I will eat my son's game so that I can give you my blessing." So he brought it up to him, and he ate it. He also brought him wine, and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, "Come close now and kiss me, my son." He approached and kissed him. Isaac smelled his clothes and blessed Isaac with these words: "See, my son smells like a field which Adonai has blessed. So may God give you dew from heaven, the richness of the earth, and grain and wine in abundance. May people serve you and nations bow down to you. May you be lord over your kinsmen. Let your mother's descendants bow down to you. Cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be everyone who blesses you." But as soon as Isaac had finished giving his blessing to Jacob, when Jacob had barely left his father's presence, Esau his brother came in from his hunting. He too had prepared a tasty meal and brought it to his father. And now he said to his father, "Let my father get up and eat from his son's game, so that you may give me your blessing." Isaac his father said to him, "Who are you?" And he answered, "I am your son, your firstborn, Esau." Esau began trembling uncontrollably and said, "Then who was it that took game and brought it to me? I ate it all just before you came and gave my blessing to him." That's the truth, and the blessing must stand. When Esau heard his father's words, he burst into loud, bitter sobbing. "Father, bless me too," he begged. He replied, "Your brother came deceitfully and took away your blessing." Esau said, "His name Jacob really suits him, because he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and here now he has taken away my blessing." Then he asked, "Haven't you saved a blessing for me?" Isaac answered Esau, "Look, I have made him your lord. I have given him all his kinsmen as servants, and I have given him grain and wine to sustain him. What else is there that I can do for you, my son?" Esau said to his father, "Have you only one blessing? Have you only one blessing, my father? Father, bless me too." Esau wept aloud, and Isaac, his father, answered him, "Here, your home will be of the richness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. You will live by your sword, and you will serve your brother. But when you break loose, you will shake his yoke off your neck." Esau hated his brother because of the blessing his father had given him. Esau said to himself, "The time for mourning my father will soon come, and then I will kill my brother Jacob." But the words of Esau, her older son, were told to Rivkah. She sent for Jacob, her younger son, and said to him, "Here, your brother Esau is comforting himself over you by planning to kill you. Therefore, my son, listen to me. Get up and escape to Laban, my brother in Haran. Stay with him a little while until your brother's anger subsides. Your brother's anger will turn away from you, and he will forget what you did to him. Then I will send and bring you back from there. Why should I lose both of you on the same day?" Rivkah said to Yitzhak, "I am sick to death of Hittite women. If Jacob marries one of the Hittite women, like those who live here, my life will not be worth living." Joshua chapter 3. These are the nations which Adonai allowed to remain, in order to put to the test all the people of Israel who had not known any of the wars with Canaan. This was only so that the generations of Israel who had previously known nothing of war might learn about it. These nations consisted of the 5 chiefs of the Philistine, all the Canaanites, the Sidonites, and the Hivites, who lived in the hills of the Lebanon, between Mount Baal Hermon and the entrance to Hamath. They stayed there to test whether Israel would pay attention to the mitzvah of Adonai, which through Moshe he had ordered their ancestors to obey. So the people of Israel lived among the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, taking their daughters as their wives, giving their own daughters to their sons, and serving their gods. Thus the people of Israel did did what was evil from Adonai's perspective, forgot Adonai their God, and served the Baalim and Asherim. Therefore the anger of Adonai blazed against Israel, and he gave them over into the hands of Cushan Rishatayim, king of Aram Naharaim. And the people of Israel served Cushan Rishatayim 8 years. But when the people of Israel cried out to Adonai, Adonai raised up a savior for the people of Israel, and he rescued them. This was Othniel, the son of Caleb's younger brother, Kenaz. The spirit of Adonai came upon him, and he judged Israel. Then he went out to war, and Adonai gave Cushan Rishatayim, king of Aram, into his hands. His power prevailed against Cushan Rishatayim. So the land had rest for 40 years until Othniel, the son of Kenaz, died. But the people of Israel again did what was evil from Adonai's perspective. So Adonai strengthened Eglon, the king of Moab, against Israel, because they had done what was evil from Adonai's perspective. In confederation with the people of Ammon and Amalek, Eglon went out and defeated Israel, capturing the city of date palms. And the people of Israel served Eglon, the king of Moab, 18 years. But when the people of Israel cried out to Adonai, Adonai raised up for them a savior, Ehud, the son of Gera, from the tribe of Benjamin, and a left-handed man. The people of Israel appointed him to take their tribute to Eglon, the king of Moab. Ehud made himself a double-edged sword, 18 inches long, and strapped it to his right thigh under his clothes. Then he presented the tribute to Eglon, king of Moab. Now Eglon was a very fat man. When he had finished presenting the tribute, he dismissed the people who had brought it. But he himself, after reaching the quarries at Gilgal, went back and said, "King, I have a secret message for you." The king commanded silence, and all his attendants withdrew. Ehud came to him. He was sitting alone by himself in his upstairs room, where it was cool. Ehud said, "I have a message from God for you." As the king arose from his seat, Ehud reached out with his left hand, took the sword from his right thigh, and thrust it into the king's belly. The hilt too went in after the blade, and the fat closed around the blade, for he did not draw the sword out of his belly, so that it came out behind. Then Ehud went out into the porch, shut the doors of the upstairs room behind him, and locked them. After Ehud had left, the king's servants came. Seeing that the doors of the upper room were locked, they said, "He must be relieving himself in the inner part of the cool room." They waited until they became embarrassed, but he still didn't open the doors of the upstairs room. So they took the key and opened them, and there before them lay their master dead on the ground. But while they were laying, Ehud escaped. He passed beyond the quarries and arrived safely in Seirah. Upon arrival in the hills of Ephraim, he began sounding the call on the shofar, and the people of Israel went down with him from the hill country. He himself took the lead. He said to them, "Follow me, because Adonai has given your enemy Moab into your hands." They went down after him, seized the fords of the Jordan of opposite Moab, and permitted no one to cross. On that occasion, they defeated Moab. Some 10,000 men, all tough, experienced soldiers, not one of them escaped. Thus was Moab subdued that day under the power of Israel. Then the land had rest for 80 years. After Ehud came Shamgar, the son of Anat, who killed 600 Philistines with an ox goad, and he too rescued Israel. Psalms chapter 23, a Psalm of David. Adonai is my light and my salvation. Whom do I need to fear? Adonai is the stronghold of my life. Of whom should I be afraid? When evildoers assailed me to devour my flesh, my adversaries and foes, they stumbled and fell. If an army encamps against me, my heart will not fear. If war breaks out against me, even then I will keep trusting. Just one thing have I asked of Adonai, only this will I seek, to live in the house of Adonai all the days of my life, to see the beauty of Adonai and visit in his temple. For he will conceal me in his shelter on the day of trouble. He will hide me in the folds of his tent. He will set me high on a rock. Then my head will be lifted up above my surrounding foes. Then I will offer in his tent sacrifices with shouts of joy. I will sing praises to Adonai. Listen, Adonai, to my voice when I cry. Show favor to me and answer me. My heart said of you, seek my face. Your face, Adonai, I will seek. Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in anger. You are my help. Do not abandon me. Do not leave me. God, my Savior, even though my father and mother have left me, Adonai will care for me. Teach me your way, Adonai. Lead me on a level path because of my enemies. Do not give up to the whims of my foes, for false witnesses have risen against me, all those who are breathing violence. If I had not believed that I would see Adonai's goodness in the land of the living. Put your hope in Adonai, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Yes, put your hope in Adonai. Matthew chapter 27. Early in the morning, all the head Kohanim and elders met to plan how to bring about Yeshua's death. Then they put him in chains, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate the governor. When Judah, who had betrayed him, saw that Yeshua had been condemned, he was seized with remorse and returned the 30 silver coins to the head Kohanim and elders, saying, I have sinned in betraying an innocent man to death. What is that to us? They answered. That is your problem. Hurling the pieces of silver into the sanctuary, he left. Then he went off and hanged himself. The head Kohanim took the silver coins and said, It is prohibited to put this into the temple treasury because it is blood money. So they decided to use it to buy the potter's field as a cemetery for foreigners. This is how it came to be called the Field of Blood, a name it still bears. Then Zechariah the prophet spoke. Then what Zechariah the prophet spoke was fulfilled. And they took the 30 silver coins, which was the price the people of Israel had agreed to pay for him, and used them to buy the potter's field, just as the Lord directed me. Meanwhile, Yeshua was brought before the governor, and the governor put this question to him, Are you the king of the Jews? Yeshua answered, The words are yours. But when he was accused by the head Kohanim and elders, he gave no answer. Then Pilate said to him, Don't you hear all these charges they are making against you? But to the governor's great amazement, he did not say a single word in reply to the accusation. It was the governor's custom during a festival to set free one prisoner, whomever the crowd asked for. There was at that time a notorious prisoner being held, named Yeshua Barabbas. So when a crowd had gathered, Pilate said to them, Whom do you want me to set free for you, Barabbas or Yeshua, called the Messiah? For he understood that it was out of jealousy that they had handed him over. While he was sitting in the court, his wife sent him a message, Leave that innocent man alone. Today in a dream I suffered terribly because of him. But the head Kohanim persuaded the crowd to ask for Barabbas' release and to have Yeshua executed on the stake. Which of the two do you want me to set free for you? Asked the governor. Barabbas, they answered. Barabbas. Pilate said to them. Barabbas, they answered. Pilate said to them, then what should I do with Jeshua called the Messiah? They all said, put him to death on the stake. Put him to death on the stake. When he asked why, what crime has he committed, they shouted all the louder, put him to death on the stake. When Pilate saw that he was accomplishing nothing, but rather that a riot was starting, he took water, washed his hands in front of the crowd, and said, my hands are clean of this man's blood. It is your responsibility. All the people answered, his blood is on us and our children. Then he released to them Barabbas, but Jeshua, after having him whipped, he handed over to be executed on the stake. The governor's soldiers took Jeshua into the headquarters building, and the whole battalion gathered around him. They stripped off his clothes and put on him a scarlet robe, wove thorn branches into a crown, and put it on his head, and put a stick in his right hand. Then they kneeled down in front of him and made fun of him. Hail to the King of the Jews! They spit on him and used the stick to beat him about the head. When they had finished ridiculing him, they took off the robe, put his own clothes back on him, and led him away to be nailed to the execution stake. As they were leaving, they met a man from Cyrene named Shimon, and they forced him to carry Jeshua's execution stake. When they arrived at a place called Golgotha, which means place of a skull, they gave him wine mixed with bitter gall to drink, but after tasting it, he would not drink it. After they had nailed him to the stake, they divided his clothes among them by throwing dice. Then they sat down to keep watch over him there. Above his head, they placed the written notice stating the charge against him. This is Jeshua, King of the Jews. The two robbers were placed on execution stakes with him, one on the right and one on the left. People passing by hurling insults at him, shaking their heads and saying, so you can destroy the temple, can you, and rebuild it in 3 days? Save yourself, if you are the Son of God, and come down from the stake. Likewise, the head Kohanim jeered at him, along with the Torah teachers and elders. He saved others, but he cannot save himself. So he's King of Israel, is he? Let him come down now from the stake. Then we'll believe him. He trusted God. So let him rescue him if he wants him. After all, he did say, I am the Son of God. Even the robbers kneeled up with him, insulted him in the same way. From noon until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, all the land was covered with darkness. At about 3, Jeshua uttered a loud cry. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. My God, why have you deserted me? On hearing this, some of the bystanders said, he's calling for Eliyahu. Immediately one of them ran and took a sponge, soaked it in vinegar, put it on a stick, and gave it to him to drink. The rest said, wait, let's see if Eliyahu comes and rescues him. But Jeshua, again crying out in a loud voice, yielded up his spirit. At that moment, the parapet in the temple was ripped in two from top to bottom, and there was an earthquake with rocks splitting apart. Also the graves were opened, and the bodies of many holy people who had died were raised to life. And after Jeshua rose, they came out of the graves and went into the holy city, where many people saw them. When the Roman officer and those with him who were keeping watch over Jeshua saw the earthquake and what was happening, they were awestruck and said, he really was the Son of God. There were many women there, looking on from a distance. They had followed Jeshua from the Galilee, helping him. Among them were Miriam from Magdala, Miriam the mother of Jacob and Joseph, and the mother of Zabdi's son. Towards evening there came a wealthy man from Ramat Tayyim named Joseph, who was himself a Talmid of Jeshua. He approached Pilate and asked for Jeshua's body, and Pilate ordered it to be given to him. Joseph took the body, wrapped it in a clean linen sheet, and laid it in his own tomb, which he had recently cut out of the rock. After rolling a large stone in front of the entrance to the tomb, he went away. Miriam of Magdala and the other Miriam stayed there, sitting opposite the grave. Next day, after the preparation, the head Kohanim and the Perishim went together to Pilate and said, "Sir, we remember that the deceiver said while he was still living, 'After 3 days I will be raised.' Therefore order that the grave be made secure till the 3rd day. Otherwise the Talmudim may come, steal him away, and say to the people, 'He was raised from the dead, and the last deception will be worse than the first.'" Pilate said to them, "You may have your guard. Go and make the grave as secure as you know how." So they went and made the grave secure by sealing the stone and putting the guard on watch. Numbers chapter 6, verses 24 through 26. May Adonai bless you and keep you. May Adonai make his face shine on you and show you his favor. May Adonai lift up his face toward you and give you his shalom. Thank you again for joining us. Until next time, shalom, shalom.